you so much, Veena auntie. Could we have the chapter? So I very quickly share something about the life, because before we show the films, it would have more meaning. Anyway, Mama was born on 28th August 1939 in a place called Balaghat, because her father was a civil surgeon. It was known as the Central Provinces and Virar. So she always believed in being the center of all things, to everything wholeheartedly, devotedly. There was no halfway for her in anything. Thank you so much, Hina ma'am, Imran sir, Safra sir, Mr. Rehan, Mr. Chandran, Venu, Naushad and Heather. Because we had tremendous amount of photographs, very difficult to choose. And also my cousins, Mariam and Saida. So she had a very interesting life which she shared with us in Balaghat, and there were lots of holidays, day trips to Betol, Nagpur, Khandwa. And my grandfather being a doctor, so many members of the family were born there. Second chapter. Artistic awakenings were really very early, and she was a kind of a little local celebrity, because she was used to be invited to, decorate pandals, events which would happen with the British resident for the Indian touch. And I believe even before there were coffee table books, interior design, she was famous about decorating bathrooms, buying textiles from the heart, and also having birthday parties, which was a very novel thing, going on picnics. So very early she showed her talent. Both my grandparents really loved traveling, and there were a lot of lovely travels everywhere. And I think the most notable was the one just before partition, because I think my grandfather sensed that the country was going to be divided. So before days of package tour and itinerary, they traveled the length and breadth of the country. That was, I think, a tremendous memory and inspiration for her artwork. Then my grandfather decided that it would be better to educate the children in England. So they went through Aurangabad. Mehmu Mama was there. After she saw that Roo Afza was made in Baltis in their house, because he was a film star, they went to Karachi. And partition did have a big effect on her, because of those famous, the ghost trains. I believe my aunt and mothers would all go and, see all the dead bodies and pick out the people who were alive. And that really had a big effect on her. And as my children know, even today, I'm scared to travel in trains. I prefer walking, running, buses. And she also saw that how Mohajis were treated, and she, realized the kindness to strangers, how important it is, generosity. I think that's where she learned all that. And then, my grandfather had a very strict stricture that no jewelry, girls must have education and career. So to find a loophole, she decided to do, and two of her cousins to do their intermediate before age. And she had subjects like ancient Persian and classic Persian, and of course she passed. So that was a tremendous help when she reached Warwickshire in UK, where my grandfather was, in the Burns Hospital, and he had a private consultancy. And then she created again ripples there, because in the school first time in the district there was a competition, and an Asian girl's design textile was selected for the Church of Kidminster for the altar cloth. And then again first time anyone had been selected for a scholarship in Central School. So then she went to London, and she always talked about her mentors there, Mrs. Leishner, Mary Harper, who later became Mary Addington. And then of course it was very smooth going to the Royal College of Art, where Marion Straub, the notable Marion Straub, Bauhaus movement, she was her guru. And next please. And very interesting, she always worked, and that's how she came into contact, and she had a very long friendship with the Rothschilds. They ran that famous Primavera. She used to make hats for Ascot. So scholarship plus lots of pocket money. Bauhaus movement, people who are not acquainted, was a movement which believed in fine art merging with craft. And today it is very, very relevant to our world, because multimedia, to have multiple functions of art, it's not just something you see, but what you feel and the surrounding. And I think she practiced this all her life, because she made her own clothes, and it would extend to footwear, jewelry, even the chair she was sitting on. And as many people know, Royal College of Art and Royal College of Surgeons are next to each other. So that's how she met my father, and they decided to run away. They were very smart. They did not run to Gretna Green because the family would find out from both sides. So they went to Edinburgh, which is Scotland, because, you know, she was 16 and that was underage to get married. Then, of course, there were lots of lovely trips they talked about, and she had a lot of research in, you know, Berwick-on-Tweed, Argyll, Orkney Islands, Shetland Islands, and my father also got his fellowship. And then they decided to come back to India, and she joined the Polytechnic, which was at Kashmiri Gate, and now it's at Marani Bagh. That's how she was teaching Veena Auntie, and then she would also be doing freelancing for all these clothing mills, DCM, Shriram, and units in Panipat, and Bim Auntie's there, also Fab India. And she always acknowledged, you know, Uncle John Bissell, that he was very honest about giving royalty whenever she used her designs, his right till the end. And then, you know, she suddenly decided, you know, that I have to start weaving and teaching weaving in her Barsati, because she saw that, you know, women, either they had very menial jobs, or they became telephone operators, or they were very academic and they would become engineers or study medicine. And she felt that this huge catchment of women with so much creative potential and endeavor. So that is how she opened the college with 7 students, and of course her beloved textile design, but then it expanded to secretarial practice. Then we had cutting and tailoring, home science. And you can understand the college, how it was growing, because first it was a J23, South Extension, J22, N9, N6, M1 across the road. And then she also opened community polytechnics in Mongolpuri, Trilokpuri, Seelampuri, Zakir Hussain College, then Rabia at Balli Maran, and also rural polytechnics at Bahraich, Shamli, and also UNDP projects. These were very notable in countries like Maldives, Nepal, Sri Lanka. Very unfortunate, the ones which she made, you know, contributed in Kashmir and Somalia, they were both burned down later by militants. And UNDP projects, some of them were very dangerous. I remember she shared when they were, you know, going to Sri Lanka, a car bomb burst in front of them and behind them. And then, you know, somehow they reached the airport. And that's how she said, it's very, very fortunate to have a nickname. Everybody was shocked, but suddenly 4 or 5 students came, "Oh, Chow, how is Polly?" And, you know, everybody forgot about the bombs, because, you know, they were talking about college days. So she said, very useful being called Chow. Then, of course, Indira Gandhi ji also acknowledged her endeavor and, you know, gifted her a matador to facilitate her work. And finally, Jagmohan ji, with the final signing through DDA to the present campus which we have at Lajpat Nagar, we feel very blessed indeed about that. She was always very, you know, forward-thinking about opening new departments, and she was the first one in the capital city of India to start the program of fashion design. And she was very proud always to acknowledge that when the government started the NIFTs all over India, her teachers and her faculty made the curriculum. But I mean, there were so many others. Before wellness became an industry or a byword, she thought of holistic health and fitness, event management, and also, of course, the IT. She made all the teachers realize that this was going to be the next big thing, and we all have to become IT friendly. NCRT and CBSE, when they first decided to introduce the vocational courses, which began with textile design, she was the convener, moderator, examiner for the curriculum. Also, of course, she had a big role in natural disasters, not only tsunami, which meant actually going and finding who needs the fishing boats, the floods in '78, the earthquake in Gujarat was very memorable because 3 busloads of contribution from students and everybody, these teachers and students went to Gujarat, and they reached where aid had not yet reached, thanks to the army. And I believe at one point they even slept on the sandy floor. And she said that I suddenly got up with a jerk because I realized कि कुछ गज और मील आगे मेरे माँ बाप भी लेटे हुए हैं रेत में मेरे तरह. So it was a great trip, but I think she reached out to people very personally. She saved so many marriages, she got so many people married, and much before it became mandatory to get registration, she used to see that it was done with so many of her acquaintances. And of course, we all know that she really her heart went out for first generation literates, concessions, scholarships for widows, people from, low socioeconomic communities. She has always helped them all her life. And she used to always say that, there is always somebody poorer than you, and it's in your family. जो बोलते हैं कि उनके फैमिली में कोई गरीब नहीं है, झूठ बोल रहे हैं. So that was a very learning thing for me. And of course, she loved traveling. And, it obviously started from the childhood. But I think I must mention that, with just 2 bogies, Mrs. Burman and my mother, in her very early 20s, went all over South India. Then they did a trip northeast. And also the Granthis in Nanakpur, the birthplace of Guru Nanak Ji, they told us that this was the first women delegation which had come after partition, of students and teachers. I know there are many of them in the audience today. Yes, Mama was a great stickler of time. Everybody will vouch. She was the first to arrive and the last to go. And she made actually a very good art installation for one of the exhibitions which we'll be showing you on time. And of course, cleanliness, tidiness, very much. Many of us teachers have had a desk cleaned out by her to instill the sound lesson that before we ask students, we have to be tidy ourselves. She also had this great thing about, handloom. Mostly she wore khadi, and at one time, most of the saris used to be woven by her. And I think many a student and teacher has been, converted by her and convinced that they should discard nylon and synthetics and start wearing natural fibers. She also had a lot of, very जो तकिया कलाम कहते हैं, adages, alfaz, and we were all smiling about them last night. Like if you asked why, because the sky is so high, or अभी करो, कल किसने देखा है, or सफाई ईमान है. So she was very particular and she practiced all her adages. The finale was very interesting. We have my father's boat here, which he actually made under the amrut tree in the 1970s with a Popular Mechanic magazine. So it was a very strange journey because this year it would have been my parents' 60th wedding anniversary, 23rd December. And they've been always together. Also, they were from different communities, very different. But when they both became ill, they reversed the roles. I was telling the doctors and nurses, my father became, very loud voiced because of the sodium high and low. And my mother became so soft-spoken, who was always the disciplinarian. And everybody saw in Apollo Hospital, Mysore, how, one would get better, the other would get also. And they said, कि अब दोनों को ठीक करना पड़ेगा. So they had special permission to, meet each other. And it's very strange. We have this picture where, once Mama was going from the ICU to the ward and Papa was going from the ward to the ICU, same bed, and the stretchers crossed near the lift, and they held their hands. So I think they both have left us in body, but their spirit will always be with us. Now we'll all have the exciting photographs. She came from a very illustrious family which goes back to 12th century, and my grandfather's father is there, Hafiz Muhammad Ismail, who was a judge, a munsif in the Deccan region, And then his son, that is my mother's grandfather, Shah Mohammad Abdul Rahman, who was the deputy commissioner in Chhindwara, a place again in Madhya Pradesh today. That's the family tree. If anyone is interested, Mahmood Mama is here. He has great knowledge and documents about it. So that's my grandfather's grandfather and grandfather's father. And this is Mama's parents, Nanima and Nanaba. That's the medical college, King George Medical College, Lucknow. That's their wedding card. I thought I should put it because my parents had no wedding photographs and no wedding cards, because they didn't tell anybody when they were getting married. And also unko Khan Bahadur ka khitab mila tha. And that's not my mother, but her elder sister and brother in those old perambulators. Yes, that's Mama at a very early age, primary school. And these are all the great clan gatherings they had. They were very close, affectionate family. That's her school friends. We all know she was a great one for friends. And that is the car which went everywhere. This is one of the last photographs before partition, and that's Badi Khala. She came first in her metric exam. First time a Muslim girl who had topped. And then of course that's my mother behind Badi Khala, and Zakia Khala, who also married a Bengali from the same part of Bengal, Sylhet, as my mother. And then her two elder brothers. And behind Nanaba Nanima, that small boy is Raza Shah, who actually became a scientist, and he has 3 patents with NASA. And at his funeral they announced that he had invented the black box. He of course sold it to a company and it has been modified, but I think it's a great pride for India that the black box was invented by an Indian. And Razia Khala, whose daughters are here, they came from Philadelphia and Singapore. She was a scientist from Imperial College. And the other two, as they were telling me, were the foster brothers and sisters, because Nanaba, Nanima were great ones to educate everyone, anyone. Thank you. This is the only time, the first and last time that I met my grandmother, because of all the border turmoil and how the country has been broken into fragments. My mother, of course, took great pride in traditional clothes. I deliberately showed this picture. That's my father. That the Shahs and Chaudhuris do have a lot in common. हालांकि ऊपर से बहुत अलग देखते हैं, उनकी ज़बान अलग है, because both my uncle, father had love for dogs and shikar. And that's Raza Mamu, who she met, almost after 32 years. He just walked in and said, मैं आपका भाई हूँ. And he had changed so much, so my mother didn't believe. And then he showed his visiting card. She said, कोई भी ये छाप सकता है. So then, because he had gone bald, so finally, he showed a scar on the hand. They were playing, and some glass bottle had broken. तो सारा खून जो था मामा के ऊपर गिर गया. तो सब उनको भाग रहे हैं, उनको लगा चोट लगी है. And actually, it was my brother who was hurt. So he showed that. I thought that's quite ingenious. Next, please. I know I've been told, Dolly auntie was saying, don't show shikar, it's so politically incorrect. But अब वो लोग को शौक था, वो करते थे. And they had certain rules. Sameer would probably tell us. There was rules where you played by the game. Yes, this was a great thing, birthday parties. My aunt was telling me, ये नई चीज़ शमीम ने पढ़ा कि हम पिकनिक करेंगे, बर्थडे पार्टी, और अब्बा अम्मी तो बहुत खुश हो रहे हैं, घर साफ हो रहा है, डेकोरेट हो रहा है, पर हम लोग के लिए बड़ी आफत है कि तुम लोग क्यों नहीं ऐसे बनते हो. But yeah, she loved gathering friends, and she kept in touch with most of them. This was very interesting. ये जो नीचे का picture है, because इन्होंने मामा ने बहुत सस्ता हाट में खरीद के कपड़ा बनाया था, and then they went for dinner to some place जिनका टेबल क्लॉथ, कर्टन, नैपकिन यही कपड़ा था. So सब भाई बहन बहुत अपसेट हुए, अब हम तुम्हारे डिजाइन नहीं पहनेंगे. Yeah, you know, Mama was, I think, like MFSN, कहीं भी बैठा दो उनको बस, you know, रौनक शुरू हो जाएगी. These are very two important Shah uncles of my life, because Guddu Mama came specially for her last rites, and then Johnny Mama ne, you know, har waqt, you know, all the last 10 years he's been phoning every day. And we are so blessed to have these great, famous, wonderful Shah uncles. And Shehnaz auntie is a Polytechnic student. I think for some time she was also the hostel warden. This is her, you know, her art days as a student, art student in Europe. Very proud of wearing her sari. If you see her in a gharara, it's been stitched by her. I think she was somebody told me she was one of the few people left in Delhi who knew how to stitch a chatapati gharara. It needs great technical skill. And of course, वो हमेशा बताती थी मैं 3 दिन में बना के देती हूँ. When I was small, she used to, you know, just बैठे हुए stitch shirts, हमारे लिए कपड़े, and then फिर वो जंक लग गया उनके sewing machine में, तो आपको दिखाएंगे कैसे उन्होंने उसको टेबल बनाया, recycle किया. These are all friends and family, her classmates at Central School. That looks like some nature study trip. And yes, great promotion of Indian culture. They had Qawwalis in Birmingham. That's my mother at this edge. Yes, that's of course her very favorite, very dear. I think she was very Gandhian and meditative about weaving. And she always said, कोई पूछता था आप क्या हैं, मैं जुलाहिन हूँ. I think this, at least for our life, it is the greatest love story of my parents. मैंने खासकर fireplace दिया because once we were, thanks to Sansan, in winter in Mussoorie, and I saw that, you know, they were great people to start a fire, light a fire. And of course, the fire which lighted in their hearts never ended between them. Next, please. बहुत शौक घूमने का, दावत का. Yes, sir. Of course, Papa was always her personal doctor. But he used to tease me, okay, what is the college doctor doing? And Holi खेलते हुए, Bhan uncle is here, Vani auntie, उनका famous Holi जो होता था. My parents loved the food, and these were one of the great gatherings at the farm. Kuldeep uncle, Ellen auntie, Raj uncle, Hiroko auntie, Ralhan uncle. I think they are all there today with us. Thank you. Yes, Samir would agree. Papa, Mama were great parents. Har khwahish puri ki. They spoilt us rotten. And Mama loved being a grandmother. Even in hospital, the nurses caught on, unko nani ma bolo, nani. You know, although they were South Indian, that she'll be very cooperative and happy. She loved being called nani. Loved children. Restaurant हम कहीं जाते थे, कोई बच्चों को बोलता शोर नहीं मचाओ, she would say नहीं नहीं बिल्कुल नहीं, यही तो लोग रौनक दे रहे हैं. ओह अच्छा, ये एक वीडियो हमें मिला, थैंक्स टू हमारा, that's हमेशा.
Hello, Nani. He has denied. Huh? No, you are not, honey.
Because of your grandmother.
No, you are not.
Yes, because of your grandmother.
क्या करो? आप मेरे कुछ नहीं हो ना? आप मेरे कुछ नहीं हो?
नहीं, मैं आपकी
क्या हूँ? अच्छा, मैं क्या हूँ? और मैं क्या हूँ? आप क्या हो जैसे? हाँ? अरे नहीं नानी है। क्या है?
2 बच्चे हैं। हमारा है ना बेटा। And I love them the most.
ओह, ये क्या चल रहा है? ओके नानी।
He's jealous.
He's jealous.
Yeah. Bye, honey.
Bye.
Bye. Watch TV.
Yeah, that's Sultan uncle who taught Burmese food, and Elizabeth, Jewish recipes. This is, I think, their golden anniversary in Kulk. Kidwai Saab, who they had a tremendous relationship. Chuku auntie is General Nanda's wife. As he always told my children, okay, I have had bath with your father because they were in Doon school together, same house. This is Linda. You know, the great Polytechnic had this great exchange programs with Northumbria, Longlands, and Linda for the last 18-20 years has been sending her birthday card. And इस साल भी हमेशा 3 हफ्ते पहले आता है. And we don't have the courage to open. If anybody in the audience would like to open her card, because of course the person to open it is not this year. Linda Young. Mr. Banerjee, I think Mama was very excited also about the Dundee and Blackburn exchange programs. Oh, that's Italy, 3 coins in a Trevi. She liked the song also very much. Loved flowers. That is, I think, Victoria and Albert Museum. That's Spain. उनको खाने का भी बहुत शौक था. But as my father said, your mother doesn't like to cook for less than 50 people. And she used to cook very fast also. कभी खाली नहीं बैठती थी. हमेशा कुछ ना कुछ, कभी कढ़ाई हो रहा है, knitting, designing jewelry. That's her, famous installation on time. This I wanted to mention that apart from her, artwork, she was great in display. Every year in the college we have this problem. Teachers are so talented, students, but how do we display it? So I remember Bhavna, the great portrait painter, she advised her कि तुम actually carving खिड़की लो और उसको भी paint करो और rail window use करो. And then we had this student who had made these lovely miniatures, but how to display. So Mama told her how to mount it and to paint the background also. That is the great work by Banerjee sir. And then Mama gave that little tip to extend it beyond the frame. When we had this at Visual Art Gallery, I think it was very symbolic of Mama because she painted and carved all these ants in patterns, big size, small size, and even on jewelry. I have one as a gold brooch. And I think it's symbolic that she always believed in teamwork. हमेशा सबके साथ काम करना चाहिए. These are some of the exercises in the Royal College of Art, where she was a distinction student in industrial design. These are woven by her. I think you can make out which is first year and which is the later year work. That painting we have, of course it's embroidered by Sadik, but she did the drawings freehand. And that stool was also designed by her. And her idea of putting the thali, with Shona auntie when they were in Srinagar, my father was very proud. She actually, made this dinner set and baked it and glazed it. And this marble table also, he was very proud because she got it for 100 rupees. Because एक दुकानदार था और हमेशा बोलता था कि अगर आप उसको अपने आप ले जाओगे तो मैं 100 रुपए में दूंगा. And most people would end up buying something in the shop. So she actually made it walk. अपने आप उन्होंने वाकई में she took it out of, तो उनको 100 रुपए में ये मिला. And I don't know if Ram Rahman is there, but I believe his mother danced on this. And my father was very upset when a Russian ambassador fell on it drunk. So a lot of mementos. And this, of course, the metro station, the metro, great art installations in 14 stations, which are all over the city. And Sridharanji actually kept giving us, because we were one of the few people who did the murals before time, 100 by 60 feet, a very rare feat indeed in India. This is some of the last jewelry. Harpreet ma'am, head of jewelry design, knows Mama used to khud hi puroti thi, and not only just design and color scheme. So this was one of the last works. And of course, being a weaver, she loved tying knots. I believe isse nazar nahi lagta. This is a Turkish talisman. And then she had this great, network where she sourced crystals and beads. ये सरोतों का बहुत अच्छा स्टोरी है, because my nanabba said कि अब तुमने शादी की है, अब निभाना चाहिए. But if he told my father कि every day give her some money for pan. तो वो मम्मा इकट्ठा करती थी और फिर अपने बर्थडे में सरोता खरीदती थी. तो आई थॉट बहुत ही खूबसूरती से हमारे डाइनिंग रूम में सजाया. एंड ये नीचे लास्ट कढ़ाई, nowadays we all go to boutiques and malls, बनवा रहे हैं. मम्मा would just अपने आप अपना embellishment करना. एंड ये उनका वो सोइंग मशीन होता था. जब जंग लग गया तो फिर उन्होंने उसको टेबल बनाया. Lots of famous people she hobnobbed with: Sahib Singh Verma, Begum Ambada Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed's wife, Rod Bright, Director British Council, Sagrika Ghosh, B.G. Verghese, and of course Sheila Dikshit ji. Sheila Kaki, we are very happy to have her today. Great friend of Mama. Yes, and this of course is, she loves students. She was very close to all her Thai students, that Udumsri and Zainab Saisopa. And because of that, I saw a very different Thailand. I no branded clothes, no package tours. The Thailand I saw with my mother were old, wooden buildings, and where the youngsters would touch the feet of elders. And then very different jewelry. So thanks to her, I saw a very different Thailand. And that was because of her connection with the students. This is Kushwant Singh ji flagging off for the earthquake in Gujarat. Asha auntie also, who has passed away. She was also a very brave, adventurous person. Himmat wali. Meena ma'am is there. I think Honey is there. A great friendship with all her colleagues. Harpreet, Krishna Gupta, Shama Mehra, Shama आंटी हैं आज हमारे साथ. as the Vocational Education Society. Abbas Sahib, who's the president, and Munis Kidwai, who's the vice president. Amin Sahib has been very crucial and elemental for our Vocational Education Society. Sadly, he passed away a few years ago. That is B.D. Jatti, Zakir Hussain, some famous people, Balram Jhakar. No, I think that was Jagjeevan Ramji, Babu Jagjeevan Ramji. Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, Jagannath Mishra. She was very fond of her office. At one time in the ICU, she was low. So I had come and said कि मम्मा आपका ऑफिस साफ कराना है, कॉलेज खुलने वाला है. So she said yes. मैंने कहा सफेदी कराऊं? No. So then the doctors knew that she was quite conscious, and as we all know, her office has a lot of wood. So then we realized, yeah, she was very much here. Radha's mother is here, and she will tell us कि Mrs. Chaudhuri झाड़ू कर देती थी अगर कुछ देर होता sweeper का. She would never wait. We all know how she used to paint the gamlas, सफेदी करना, हर काम. Always saying किसी को देने की जरूरत नहीं है, हम खुद कर सकते हैं. That is the wedding ring, which I felt so terrible. It was removed after 59 years. The nurses had a very hard time removing that wedding ring. That's when the stretchers met near the lift. Thank you. Could I now request Banerjee sir, Anand Moy Banerjee, to say a few words?